Greetings and salutations, Scribblers. Welcome back to our series on reading signposts and what you need to know about them as an author. So the 6 videos in this series are centering on the reading signposts discussed in the book Notice and Note, Strategies for Close Reading by Kylene Beers and Robert Probst. This book is designed for classroom readers, classroom reading and ELA teachers, but the reading signposts that they talk about are really excellent for authors to be aware of as well. So I hope that you've noticed that in the past 4 videos and how useful they are to just have these in the back of your mind as you're writing or revising your manuscript. So to recap, we have covered words of the wiser, again and again, memory moments, and aha moments. We've only got 2 signposts left, so today we're going to chat about contrast and contradictions. The contrast and contradiction signpost asks the reader to notice times when a character does something that doesn't line up with their previous actions, or even when a character goes against the social norms of the world that they live in. The reader is going to ask, why is the character acting like this or saying this? As an author, this is one of my absolute favorite elements to incorporate into my writing because it can really help to highlight the internal conflict a character has. I love writing a character who is thinking one thing, but then says or does the exact opposite. Because it really makes the reader ask, why is the character doing this? Like, what's happening here? Because there has to be a reason. Whether that character is aware or unaware of them acting out of the ordinary, of contradicting themselves, there has to be a reason. Maybe that character is acting against their thoughts or beliefs to protect themselves or another person. Or maybe they don't even realize what they're doing because they've been gaslit for so long that they're doing it. They think that they're doing this action or saying this thing for the right reason, which can then lead to them having an aha moment at some point because they are going to have that epiphany like, oh my gosh, I was so wrong. Which is a really great place to bring up this idea that now that we've chatted about 5 of the 6 signposts, it's really important to realize that all of these interact and influence each other, right? None of them exist in isolation. So using all of them, layering them together and finding out how they link up is really important. And that's your job as the writer. You're going to want to use all of them in your manuscript. And depending on what genre and age range you're writing in, you might choose to emphasize one more than another. But again, a good story is going to have all of these elements intertwined and working in collaboration with each other to get your message across, to get the story out. So back to the contrast and contradiction signpost. You can also use this to show that your character is going against the social norms of the world that they live in. For example, like in the Hunger Games, you see Katniss and all the other tributes doing this a lot. And it really emphasized the fact that they were in a dystopian world and that they didn't agree with what was happening around them. So it's not always going to be an internal contradiction. It could sometimes just be them going against the social norms or the expectations of the world that they are living in, whether that is a fantasy world or contemporary. There's a lot of ways to play with this in your manuscript, so be creative and don't hold back. Dig into those ways that you can highlight those contrasts and contradictions, both internally and externally for your characters, because the more you get the reader thinking, the more engaged they are going to be. As I've said before, reading the signposts and reading about them from the book Notice and Note by Kylene Beers and Robert Probst, I highly recommend reading it. Like it should really be a book that you go pick up and look through, because there's so much information in there about reader processing and what they're picking up because of these things. And as a writer, you want the reader to be picking up those things. So it's really great information to take in. And it helps to build on the idea of these elements of storytelling, because it's using readers' prior knowledge and readers' expectations and using that to your advantage as the writer. So please tell me about your favorite ways to incorporate contrast and contradictions in your books, because I want to hear about it. And of course, if you are in need of a developmental edit for your novel to build in more conflict, I would love to help you with that. So please contact the Scribblers Den and we can talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about for your book. Don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe to the video so you know when the last video comes out next week. And we'll see you next time. Happy writing, Scribblers.